English podcast Easy Practice. Improve your English. Let me ask you something. When you try to speak in English, what happens inside your mind? Do you think in English? Or do you first think in your language, translate, and then speak? Maybe this is you. You have an idea in your head. It's clear, it's simple, but when you try to say it in English, you stop. You search for words, you translate in your head, you doubt everything, and suddenly that simple idea becomes difficult. Or maybe you understand English when you listen, but when it's your turn to speak, your mind goes blank. Not because you don't know English, but because your brain is still working in another language. Today, we are not going to talk about vocabulary lists. We are not going to talk about grammar rules. No. Today, we are going to talk about something deeper, something that changes everything: how to think in English. Because when you start thinking in English, you don't translate, you don't freeze, you don't overthink, you just speak. And the best part? This is not something only advanced students can do. You can start today with simple steps in your real life. Welcome everyone to the podcast. Today we are talking about something that many English learners want but don't fully understand. And this is how to think in English. And I'm here with someone who has helped many students move from translating to actually thinking in English naturally. Welcome to the show. Thank you. I'm really happy to be here. And I love this topic because thinking in English is the moment when everything starts to feel easier. Not perfect, but natural. Yes, and I think many people believe that thinking in English is something very advanced, like something only fluent people can do. That's a very common idea, but it's not true. Thinking in English is not about level, it's about habit. All right, let's start with something important. Why is thinking in English so important? Why not just translate? Good question. Well, translation creates delay. When you translate, your brain works in two steps. First, you create the idea in your language. Then you try to convert it into English. That takes time and energy. Also, translation creates confusion because languages are not the same. You know, some expressions don't exist in English. Some sentences sound strange when translated directly. So that's why sometimes we say something and it sounds wrong, even if the words are correct. Exactly. Because you are not thinking like English, you are converting your language into English. But when you think in English, your brain becomes faster, your ideas become simpler, and your communication becomes more natural. Oh, okay. I want to understand something deeper. What changes in the brain when we start thinking in English? Um, at the beginning, your brain is like a translator. It needs help. It depends on your first language. But with practice, something changes. Your brain starts creating direct connections. For example, you don't think water in your language, you just see water, and your brain says, water. Oh, I understand. So it becomes automatic. Yes, and that's the goal. Not perfection, automation. What is the biggest mistake people make when they try to think in English? They try to think perfectly. People believe, I need more vocabulary first. I need better grammar. I'm not ready. So they don't even try. But thinking in English is not about perfect sentences. It's about simple thoughts. For example, instead of thinking, I need to express a complex idea about my future goals, just think, I want to learn. I feel tired. I need food. Simple thoughts. That's all. That's how you start. Okay, let's go practical. What is the first method people can use today? Start thinking in small sentences during your day. For example, when you wake up, think, I am tired. I want to sleep more. I need to wake up. When you eat, this is good. I like this. I want more. When you walk, I am walking. It's hot. I see people. Wow. But that sounds very simple. Exactly. And that's why it works. If you try to think complex ideas, you will stop. If you keep it simple, you continue. That's how it works. That's very interesting. Let's talk about real life situations. How can people practice thinking in English in their daily life? Well, there are many ways, and they are very natural. When you are alone, this is the best moment. You can describe everything you do. For example, I am cleaning. I need to organize this. This is messy. I don't like this. This is difficult. You can also talk to yourself. What should I do now? Maybe I will watch something. No, I need to work. This is powerful because there is no pressure. When you are walking or traveling, observe your environment in English. I see a car. That building is big. There are many people. It's noisy. This connects English with reality, not with books. Even if you don't speak English at work, you can think in English. For example, I need to finish this. This is difficult. I don't understand this. I will try again. Another thing, you can also prepare conversations. If my boss asks me, I will say, I think this is better. This prepares your brain for real situations. It really works. Even if you speak your language, you can practice in your mind. With friends or family, even if you speak your language, you can practice in your mind. Imagine conversations in English. What would I say? How could I explain this? This is like mental training. It's very useful. What about translation? How can people stop translating? Well, don't fight translation directly. Replace it. When you don't know a word, don't go back to your language. Stay in English and use simple words. For example, instead of saying, I don't know how to say X word, say it's like it's something you use for, it's similar to, this keeps your brain inside English. This is already changing the way I see learning English because it's not about studying more, it's about using English differently. But I feel like this is just the beginning. Now we go deeper into advanced techniques to think faster in English. How to stop overthinking when you speak. Real examples of conversations in your mind. And how to make thinking in English feel natural, not forced. Because thinking in English is not a talent, it's a system. The next part might change the way you learn English forever. Okay, we talked about something simple but powerful, thinking in small sentences, using English in your daily life. But now I want to ask something more honest. Why do people try this and still feel stuck? Why does it feel unnatural sometimes? That's a very important question. Thinking in English feels strange, not because it is difficult, but because it is unfamiliar. Your brain is used to one system, your language, your patterns, your way of organizing ideas. When you try to think in English, You are building a new system. And in the beginning, everything feels slow, uncomfortable, and sometimes even frustrating. So, that uncomfortable feeling is not a bad sign. Bad sign? No. It's actually a good sign. It means your brain is working in a new way, and that's good. Most people stop at this stage. They say, this is not natural for me. But the truth is, nothing is natural at the beginning. Alright, I think many learners have another problem, and this is they want to be correct all the time. Yes, and that blocks everything. If your goal is to be perfect, you will think slowly, you will adapt everything, you will stop. But if your goal is to be clear, you will continue. For example, instead of thinking, I need to say this perfectly, think, I want to communicate this idea. Let me give you a real example. Overthinking. I would like to express that I am experiencing a certain level of fatigue due to my daily activities. Clear thinking. I am tired. Wow. I must say, that's a huge difference. Yes, simplicity creates fluency. Never forget that. Give us something different, something people don't usually hear. Okay, this is a powerful technique. Think in scenes. Instead of thinking random sentences, create small mental situations in English. For example, in your mind, imagine you enter a restaurant. You say, hello, table for one. Can I see the menu? I would like this. Can I have water? Scene 2. Job interview. Imagine, hello, nice to meet you. I have experience in, I like to work in a team. I am responsible. Scene 3. Talking to a friend. Hey, how are you? I had a long day. I feel tired. Let's do something. This method is powerful because you are not just thinking words, you are practicing real life. So when the real situation happens, your brain already knows what to do. Exactly. You are training your mind before the moment. What about the speaking? Should people speak or only think? Both. But there is a modern method many people don't use. Think out loud, not full conversations, not perfect sentences. Just speak your thoughts softly. For example, I need to go now. I don't want to do this. You can do this when you are alone, when you walk, when you are at home. This connects thinking and speaking. So it's like making your thoughts audible. Exactly. And this builds confidence because your brain gets used to hearing your own English. Give us something structured, something people can follow every day. Okay, let's do this is simple but powerful. Create English moments in your day, not all day, just specific moments. For example, in the morning, think in English for 5 minutes. In the afternoon, describe what you are doing. At night, reflect on your day in English. At night, you can think, today I worked, I felt tired, I learned something. Tomorrow, I will try again. These small moments create consistency, and consistency creates progress. What is a mistake people don't see? Something hidden, simple. Trying to sound like a native speaker too early. This creates pressure, and pressure creates silence. Your goal is not to sound perfect, your goal is to think clearly. Fluency comes from repetition, not from perfection. I like that. How can people think faster in English? Don't try to think faster. Remove what makes you slow. You are slow because you translate, you doubt, you try to be perfect. When you remove these, speed comes naturally. I remember a student who told me, I understand English, but I can't speak fast. So we didn't focus on speed, we focused on simplicity. Instead of long sentences, we used short ones. Instead of perfect grammar, we used basic structure. After some time, he didn't become perfect, but he became fluid. And that's the goal. So maybe thinking in English is not about language, it's about identity. Yes. Because when you think in English, you are not just translating words, you are creating a new version of yourself, a version that communicates clearly, reacts faster, expresses ideas without fear, and that changes how you feel. Let me ask you something. Be honest. When you try to speak English, do you trust your mind or do you fight it? Do you give yourself permission to be simple or do you try to be perfect? Are you practicing English or are you waiting to feel ready? Because maybe you don't need more vocabulary. Maybe you don't need more grammar. No, maybe you just need to start thinking differently. Start small, start simple, start today. Because the moment you stop translating and start thinking, everything changes. Now I want to hear from you. Write in the comments. What is the biggest problem you have when thinking in English? And which method from today will you try first? Comment. Because when you say it, you make it real. Congratulations! To continue improving your English skills, click on the next video or watch our full list of videos.